system. Okay, so the PDF document has already been uploaded in the Google Classroom as well as in the WhatsApp group. Okay, kindly download it and study the things, because the same document I am going to explain right now. Okay, that is the thing. So now please, I have shared the screen. I think the screen is visible to all of you. Okay, and the same thing that I am just going to explain right now. Okay, what is the thing that is today what you are doing? That is the introduction to computer system. All right, introduction to computer system, and the portion that we will cover today, that is actually what is that actually? That is the basic organization of a computer system. Students, is the screen visible to you? Hello, is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so then I am going over there. Okay, so now let us start. Okay, so that is the thing. Now see the computer system, what is actually the the thing. So this is actually a purely based on NCERT content. Okay, so you can study also, you can scan this QR code given out here and you can reach to the document straight away, the source of the website and all. Okay, so a computer would deserve, the Alan Turing has told, okay, the computer would deserve to be called intelligent if it could devise a human, deceive a human into believing that it was human. Okay, that is the thing, because as per our knowledge, the computer is not an intelligent device. It works only on our instruction. Okay, so whatever instruction we will give, accordingly it will perform the same. Fine. So now the thing is that computer is an electronic device that can be programmed to accept data which is input, okay, and process it, and the general result, that general result means, generate result means what? Output. Okay, so output must be the meaningful information. Okay, a computer along with additional hardware and software together is called a computer system. Fine, it's called a computer system. So it is having how many things, how many elements? Hardware and software, and there is one more element is there, that is the liveware, which is important. Without that it is not possible to operate a computer. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, if hardware and software is given, we need somebody that who will run the computer. Okay, a computer system primarily comprises of a central processing unit, memory, input output devices and storage devices. Okay, all these components function together as a single unit to deliver the desired output. All right. A computer system comes in various forms and sizes. Okay, don't go with the size and all, always we have to go with its ability, how much it can process, how faster it can process. Okay, it can vary from a high-end server to personal desktop, laptop, tablet computer or a smartphone. Okay, so here is the block diagram of a computer organization or a computer system. The directed lines here you can see over here, that can represent the flow of data. You can see out here how the data flow takes place from input to output device. Okay, so here it comes, and then that is the primary memory. Okay, so primary memory contains register, which is an electronic component, okay, that can store the instruction sent by the input device for certain period of time. Afterwards it will not be there, it will be sent to some other location. Again when the turn will come, then it will be executed. Okay, so we are considering that primary memory is holding that and sending it to central processing unit. Okay, sending it to central processing unit. Okay, but the thing is that here, sorry, not central processing unit, control unit. Okay, so control unit actually decides where to be sent. If it is a numeric data, in that case the control will send to control unit will send it to arithmetic logic unit. Okay, so after processing it will come back again to the control unit, it will be wait for there sometime, then it will be sent to the memory. Then if we are saving it, then it will go to the secondary storage device. That means called permanent saving actually. All right. Okay, and then finally it can go to the output device. Okay, so that is the thing. So before going to the secondary device, it will be sent to the output device once again. Okay, so after that we can save it, or if we don't want to save it, then it will be lost. Okay, because primary memory is not a permanent storage. Okay, you have to send it to the secondary storage device. Okay, now the central processing unit, what is this actually? It is the electronic circuitry of a computer system that carries out the actual processing and usually referred as the brain of the computer, because without central processing unit nothing will happen. No processing will be done in a computer. It is commonly called processor also. Okay, nowadays it is called actually that ULSI, that is called ultra large scale integrated chips. Okay, that is the thing. Physically, a CPU can be placed on one or more microchips called integrated circuit, that is called ICs. This IC is comprised of semiconductor materials, okay, that is made up of silicon and germanium. All right, that is the thing. So this is actually the central processing unit. Fine. Okay, so it is called silicon chip actually, onto what the circuitry has been drawn, okay, in order to send the data, in order to process the data. Instructions are being saved over there. So that is called central processing unit. Fine. So now the CPU, what it does, CPU is CPU is sending instructions and data through programs only. Okay, the CPU then fetches the program and data from the memory and performs arithmetic and logic operations as per the given instructions and stores the result back to the memory. Then what is happening actually, whenever there is a comparison, like in programming we are doing a lot of comparison by using the relational operator. Okay, so that kind of operations or the numerical processing are being done into the ALU part of central processing unit, that is called arithmetic logical unit. Okay, while processing, the CPU stores the data as well as instruction in its local memory called registers. I had already spoken to this one. Okay, called registers. Okay, registers are the part of the CPU chip and they are limited in size and number. Okay, different registers are used for storing data, instructions and intermediate results. Okay, that is the thing. Other than register, the CPU has two main components, that is the arithmetic logic unit and the control unit. So what does ALU performs? ALU performs all the arithmetic and logic operations that need to be done as per the instruction in a program, and control unit controls the sequential instruction execution, interprets instructions and guides data flow through the computer's memory and ALU input or output devices, etc. Okay, that means the control unit actually coordinates the overall operation in a computer. All right, that is the thing. CPU is also popularly known as microprocessor. Understood? That is the thing. Now you see the input devices. What are input devices? Input devices are the devices through which the control signals are sent to a computer are termed as input devices. These devices convert the input data into a digital form that is acceptable by the computer system. Because if you are sending the data, suppose you are typing A and you are looking, and when you are viewing on the monitor you are getting A over there only, but it is not like that. When you have pressed A from the keyboard, a digital signal has been generated against A, and afterwards it has been translated by the translator in the computer, and then it will be again sent it back to the output console. Then you can see it A. Okay, it is not like that directly you are typing A and instantly it is coming. Apparently you may think in that way, but it is not the thing actually, because there are a lot of processing being done inside. Okay, so in that case we can say that we are just abstractly, we can say that this is happening. Fine. So now the thing is that some examples of input devices include keyboard, mouse, scanner, touchscreen, etc. Why we are saying abstracting abstraction this is a case of abstraction, because we are not sure about what is happening inside the system. We are just I'm just explaining certain steps that may happen when you are pressing over there. Definitely there is a digital signal processing, of course, there is no doubt about it. Whenever you are pressing A from the keyboard, then what is happening, a digital signal has been generated against A, that to be processed by the assembler. Okay, and assembler, and further it will be translated and sent it back to the output in human readable form. Okay, that is very important. That is called actually the proper processing. Okay, if it comes something else, then it is not actual processing. Fine, that is the thing. Okay, so output means like it is a meaningful instruction. Okay, understood. So specially designed braille keyboards, braille means those who are actually blind, they need to type on the keyboard, are also available to help the visually impaired for entering data into a computer. Besides, we can now enter data through voice. For example, we can use Google Voice Search to search the web, where we can input the search string through our voice. Data entered through input device is temporarily stored in the main memory, also called RAM. Okay, so read only random access memory of the computer system. For permanent storage and future use, the data as well as instructions are stored permanently in additional storage locations for locations called secondary memory. Okay, now the thing is that students, one question may arise in your mind, that why there is a need for a secondary storage. Anybody can say why we need a secondary storage? see students, the primary memory cannot hold the data for the long time, and neither it can save it permanently, store it permanently. For some for a particular time period it can save it, okay. But if we want to save our work permanently, definitely we need a secondary memory. Which are actually the secondary storage? Secondary storage, you can say hard disk, you can say any optical disk, you can say the flash memory like pen drive, SD cards, any kind of digital media. And nowadays we are having a non-physical storage, that is known as cloud storage, okay, that is also available. Fine, so that is the thing. Clear? So that is why apart from primary memory we need to have a secondary memory in order to save our work permanently. That is the thing. So often question comes onto this. All right, next we are coming to the output device. Before going to the output device, once more, just what is actually the input device? It is actually used to fit instruction or information to the computer, and and then after processing we are getting the meaningful information from the computer, which is known as output. And then output devices are there to display as the output or to take it in some other form, okay. So what is the physical non-physical storage? Cloud storage actually is the non-physical storage, okay. In the later part you will study the cloud storage also, regarding what is cloud storage and all, okay. So that is the thing. So what we have seen the CPU has three main parts. So what are the three main parts? One is the storage area, another is the control unit, another is the ALU, that is called arithmetic logic unit, and the input unit we have already been studied, okay. So let us see now the what is output devices. Here some of the illustrations you can see out here, the very popular computer devices you all know, okay. So here you can see the monitor is an output device, speaker is also there, printer is also there, okay, and the keyboard and all are there also. You can go back to the previous page, touch screen, all are the input console. You can see out here, scanner is here, okay. Scanner is also a kind of mouse is also there, keyboard also. These are the most common devices, input devices. You can see out here, keyboard, mouse, scanners, touch screen, etc. And the output devices also you have seen, okay. So display, monitor, okay. So speaker is there, printer is there, 3D printer, all the things are there, okay. So the device that receives data from a computer system for display physical production, okay, etc., is called output device. Physical production means which you are creating in the computer and get it physically, okay. That is the thing. It converts the digital information into human understandable form. This was I am talking about, which is known as the meaningful information. For example, monitor, projector, headphone, speaker, printer, etc., okay. Some output devices are what? Some output devices are like this, as shown. You can see you are seen in the figure 1.3, okay. So that their places, okay, figure 1.3, okay, in the previous page. A braille display monitor is useful for a visually challenged person, okay, a visually challenged person, okay, to understand the textual output generated by computers. A printer is the most commonly used device to get the output in physical form, okay, which is also known as hard copy, all right, which is also known as what? Which is also known as a hard copy. Fine, clear. So a computer generated printout is also known as hard copy. Clear? Three types of commonly used printers are available: inkjet, laserjet, and dot matrix, okay. Clear? And basically if you categorically if you say there are impact printers, there are non-impact printers, might have you have studied in your lower standards, okay. That's the things. There are two types of printers. Some printers are, they are very noisy, though they are actually the impact printers, because in that case what is happening, there will be a direct impact of the printing head and the printing media, okay. So that's why it is very much noisy. And some printers are there which are not at all noisy and printing quality is excellent, okay. That is the thing. So those are called non-impact printers, because in that case the print head and the printing media will be not in contact, okay. Clear? So that is the thing. So here basically they have given three types, that is ink, laserjet, inkjet, laserjet, and dot matrix, okay. Nowadays there is a new type of printer called 3D printer, which is used to build physical replica of a digital 3D design, okay. So if you want to see sometimes, okay, the TIGPS Siliguri students can see and go to the ATL lab, okay, there is a 3D printer available, okay, you can see it over there, okay. That is the thing. These printers are being used in manufacturing industries to create prototypes of the products, okay. Suppose a car model has been established, okay, so and the printout to be taken of that one, so that particular printout can be taken by a 3D printer, all right. That is the thing. Their usage is also being explored in the medical field, particularly for developing body or organs, okay, also, okay. That is the thing. So a 3D printer nowadays is available that can make a replica, okay, apart from taking the conventional printers which used to take the printouts on the paper, okay, but it is like a little bit of different and costly also. That is the thing. So evolution of computers says that, so there are many kind of devices, many such devices we have heard about, from the simple calculator to a modern day powerful data processor. Computing devices have evolved in a relatively short span of time. The evolution of computing devices, you can see out here, 1642 Pascaline has been divided, which is actually invented by the Blaise Pascal, okay, and it was a mechanical calculator known as the Pascal's calculator or Pascaline, okay. So it can do, okay, subtraction of two numbers, okay, and directly, and multiplication and division through repeated addition and subtraction process, okay. So you can say that that was the first mechanical calculator available, okay. And the tabulating machine, Hermann Hollerith designed a tabulating machine for summarizing the data stored on the punch card. It is considered to be the first step towards programming. 1890, okay, sorry, it was been 1890 because I have to go little, okay, wait, 1834 also you have to see. 500 BC, you can see out here, abacus has been invented, okay. This is the first thing, first device, first pre-computing device, you can say, abacus. Then the Pascaline has come, and in 1834 analytical engine has been designed. Charles Babbage invented an analytical engine, a mechanical computing device for inputting, processing, storing and displaying the output, which is considered to form the basis of modern computers, okay. Then in 1890 Hermann Hollerith invented the tabulating machine, okay, by using punched card, okay. That time the storage media was punched card. Now in next is a 1937 Turing machine. The Turing machine concept was a general purpose programmable machine that was capable of solving any problem by executing the program stored on the punched card, because that time there was no magnetic storage media was available, no optical storage media, only the punched card was the main storage media, okay. It is actually the combination of different holes, okay, and the data is to be stored with respect to that combination of holes only. That is called punched card, okay. That is the thing, okay. In 1945 what happened, okay, in 1945 we got ENIAC, okay. John von Neumann introduced the concept of stored program computer, which was capable of storing data as well as program in the memory. The EDVAC and the ENIAC, the computers were developed based on this concept, and nowadays whatever PCs we are having or the laptops we are having, it is actually following the infrastructure or the structure of the John von Neumann, okay, clear. So modern days computer also following the von Neumann architecture, okay. That is the thing. Next is transistor, okay. Transistor means vacuum tubes were replaced by transistor, because vacuum tubes were quite fragile and the failure rate was very high, but that's why it was very costly, okay. But the transistor, the cost was manufacturing cost was very less, and the raw materials were easily available, so the vacuum tubes had been replaced by semiconductor material, which is known as transistor, okay. Then this transistor further being integrated in order to form the integrated circuit, okay. That is in 1970s, okay. An integrated circuit is a silicon chip which contains entire electronic circuit on a very small area. The size of the computer, okay, drastically reduced because of these ICs, because many spaces, many different devices which are actually being used in the manufacturing of computer, okay, manufacturing of computer has come into one place only, so the size has been reduced, okay. That is the thing. So in this way, from 500 BC to 1970, okay, the evolution of computer had taken place, and within a very short period of time it has been further, okay, in this particular modern era it has been evaluated like anything, okay. That is the thing. So modern days computers are having lot of facilities, okay, that we can see. It is having fingerprint scanner, it is having the internal modem, it is having the internal network connectivity, okay, everything is there, okay. We can do the conferencing because it is having an inbuilt camera, okay. A lot of things have been developed out here, okay. That is the thing. So these are actually the evolution of computers, fine. That is the thing. So students, you have seen that how the things are being functioning. Okay, you can see out here the von Neumann architecture. Okay, you can see out here von Neumann architecture, how it is functioning. Okay, this is the input. This is actually the modern day concept. Actually, you can say that modern computers also equipped with this kind of things. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, the von Neumann architecture, you can see out here, it consists a central processing unit for processing arithmetic and logical instructions, a memory to store data and programs, input and output devices also, and communication channel to send or receive the output data. Okay, the electronic numerical integrator and computer is the first binary programmable computer based on von Neumann architecture. Okay, that is the thing. So this concept has been used, and till now we are using this particular concept. Okay, that is the thing. Till now also we are using this particular concept. Okay, that is called von Neumann architecture. All right. So students, today we have learned the different parts of CPU, evolution of computer. We have seen the basic organization of computer and a part of von Neumann architecture. Okay, so here I am concluding today's part. Okay, tomorrow again we will come up with the next part of it. Okay, that's, and you please study the portion has been taught to you today, has been explained to you today. Okay, from the study material given. Okay, thank you students.